I'm Cheryl Mitchell. I'm the president of Tree11, which is a retreat and learning center located on a sheep farm here in Addison County. And you might think it's weird that people who live on a sheep farm are involved in working with Growing Bright Futures, but actually our board really believes that the connections between spirit, nature, and social justice are best exemplified by the ways our communities support families with young children. And so we have loved working with Building Bright Futures and Let's Grow Kids and Middlebury Community Television to really delve deeply into what's going on in our community that supports young children. And I'm thrilled today to have two guests with me from Middlebury College. Kristin and Joy are going to be talking about the STEAM program, and they just won funding from MidCorps to actually make this dream real. So thank you both for joining me today. And I'm thinking that we might want to start, maybe Kristin, you can tell us what STEAM is.
So just STEAM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Art, and Math. And I know a lot of people know STEM as without the art part. But I mean, for me personally, I feel like the A, it kind of needs to be in there. I feel like a lot of the sciences don't get looked at as an art, but it definitely can be. And so if you look at like the engineering aspect of it, like all these buildings that you see every day, it's really art for a lot of people. And so I feel like a lot of people don't see the sciences as art, but it's very much just this like collaborative creative process where you just need to create these things that just so happen to help people more directly than traditional art is looked at. So I think
it's so interesting because I thought you were going to say just the opposite, that you think of the sciences as arts. So, yeah, that connection is great. I'd heard so much about STEM.
Yeah.
And STEAM really was the first time. I'm very glad that you're broadening this connection. And Joy, could you talk a little bit about how the two of you started working together on this project and what the specifics of the project are?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we're both juniors at Middlebury College, and we're both computer science majors. I just declared earlier this year, and I think Kristin...
Freshman year.
You knew where you were going. Okay.
But anyway, we met as a part of a group of girls who were starting a women in computer science club, because the female to male ratio in our department is something like 3 to 1.
Yeah.
3 guys.
3 guys
to every one girl.
Yep, so we're outnumbered and we wanted to kind of form a tighter community, and so that's how we met, and we both realized that we're passionate about robotics and helping kids, so we were like, let's do
Let's do this.
Yeah. So I'm old school, obviously, and I think of robotics as being those little things.
Yeah.
Is that, when you talk about robotics, what are you talking about?
I mean, in the context of this camp, it will be these like machines or these little things, as you describe it, that the campers will be making. So maybe like a car or like a robot that can walk or something, which sounds a little more easy but it's a little complex, and you definitely learn a lot from it. But robotics is really everywhere. Like everything, every appliance you use is an instance of robotics, and so I think it's really important and very vital to the whole field.
Yeah.
More specifically, we're going to lead 2 courses. Kristin is going to do Lego robotics, and I'm going to do Arduino engineering. And Lego robotics, that could be anything. There's really so much creativity in this. For our mid-challenge presentation, we actually built a little robot that can draw. So this looks like a little robot that you can control, and it will draw things for you, which is really just cool. And Arduinos are kind of...
Arduino.
Mm-hmm. You have a small motherboard with circuits, and you can build things like little temperature sensors, and you can make little things that will move around and will respond to your environment, and they're just really cool. And anyone can do this. It sounds complicated, but if I can do it, anyone can.
Anyone can. And I think that's kind of why we wanted, like, I mean, we like robotics, and Audrey knows she has a lot of experiences with, but we kind of, people think computer science. I think a lot of people think robots, and I just think it would really draw people in, but it's also such a cool part of computer science, and I feel like everyone can get into it. It's one of the more hands-on parts of computer science that I feel like everyone can.
So it's unlike learning to program a big computer, or it's similar?
It's sort of, it's similar because a lot of robotics involves programming.
Yeah.
So for example, if you have this robot that can draw things, you can program some steps in, and then maybe it will draw a specific picture for you. It will draw a flower, it will, write out the word steam. So you learn a bit of both, but what's beautiful about it is it's not just, lines of code on a screen, like how many people think of programming, but it's something hands-on where you can really see your results, and it will move, and it will do things for you, which I think a lot of people will find really appealing. Yeah.
Can we step back a little bit and find out? You came to Middlebury knowing that you were going to major in. Have you known that forever since you were a child?
No. I came to Middlebury and I was like destined. I'm destined to be a doctor. That's what I'm gonna. That was my thing. That's what I told my parents. Everyone knew growing up Kristin wants to be a doctor. She's gonna go to college and she's gonna become a doctor. And I couldn't get into any biology classes my first year, and so I took one computer science class, and I just kind of fell in love with it, and I just declared it right there and then.
Wow.
It's just.
What did your parents say?
Well, my mom was confused. She was like, but I thought you wanted to be a doctor. My dad was pretty excited. But I think everyone was generally they knew I was going to do something with science, technology. That's always just been my thing. But I think they all took it pretty well. It's just, I feel like it was my calling.
It was your calling, okay.
It was my calling.
Yeah. And Joy, was your background, were you also going to be a doctor when you first came?
No, I wish. I'd actually never thought of myself as a sciencey or technical person at all. I was interested in international relations, education, definitely more on the social side of things. And to graduate at Middlebury, you have to take a deductive course.
It's called a deductive now rather than
yeah. So I was trying to get into a math class, and it happened to be full, so I took a computer science class. And I, kind of like Kristin said, I fell in love. There was a lot of problem solving, and I feel like often in the social sciences, you don't really see the results of your work. What you're doing is really meaningful, but you're trying to solve very big problems. And I really liked being able to approach a problem, kind of work through the steps and see the results, and computer science really let me do that. And so I feel like there's definitely a connection between the two. You can be involved in computer science and education and international development, and I fell in love with that, so I'm excited about it.
So you had mentioned earlier that you lived part-time or grew up part-time in Russia, and I'm just remembering, so when I was a child, it was watching the launch of Sputnik that sort of made all of us have to study math and science. And I'm curious about what having spent time in Russia brings to your passions here, if anything.
So I grew up in Russia, and I went to Russian school. And I did that until 6th grade. And in 6th grade, for 6th and 7th grade, I moved to Indiana. So I had a little bit, I had a little bit of Russian education and a little bit of American education. It was really interesting for me to kind of see the differences and the different things that the different schooling systems emphasized. So in Russia, they really did emphasize hard sciences, memorization, kind of doing the same thing over and over again. And when I got to America, and I think this is very true at Middlebury as well, there's a lot of, you're very encouraged to think creatively and do more applied things. And so for me, I feel very lucky to actually have experienced both sides. And now I think I have a greater appreciation for kind of doing your homework every day and also for thinking creatively and having just these awesome classroom experiences where, you get to do these really creative and fun things. Yeah.
I feel like having Middlebury here in our community has been such a gift to us as community members. I'm a little bit curious about how how each of you views the Addison County community. As you've been thinking about doing this camp, what are the things that have been helpful, not helpful?
I mean, I don't know about you, Kristin, but the first thing that stands out to me is just how kind and excited everyone here is. We came up with this idea, and it was pretty vague. We were just like, we want to do a camp for local girls. And suddenly, so many community members just started reaching out and saying, we're interested in this. We want to do this for our kids. We've talked to parents that are interested. The people who work at the Project for Creativity and Innovation in Middlebury have just connected us to so many awesome resources. And it's amazing to be in a community that really values their kids this much.
Yeah,
And
I think, like growing up in a big city, like I'm from New York City and I went to New York City public schools with a lot of kids, and so you don't kind of see that connection between like you don't see community. And I'm not saying New York City doesn't have a community, because I love my city, but you definitely don't see it as powerfully as you see it here in Addison County. And so I didn't notice it until we like got into this project and we were getting references from so many people, and so many people were so excited about it, and I was like, wow, this is really exciting, and like people really care about like their children, like the children in the community as a whole, and everyone kind of cares about each other, and you know of each other, so everyone has some connection with someone, where in New York it's just so big, you don't know where you're gonna end up. And so I think just not being from here and coming from a place very far removed from here, I think I've gotten a really good like positive view of like the community in Addison County.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I feel really lucky to live
Yeah.
here. Could you talk to us a little bit about, how are you reaching out to girls, or how should we let girls know that you're there? Should they call you on the phone? Should they text you?
Well, we're finishing up our website right now, and we're working on some sort of application process. We really want to make sure that this is accessible to people who wouldn't consider it otherwise, and particularly to people who don't necessarily have a lot of background in STEAM or STEM. So we're meeting with some local parents, and we're trying to figure out what the best way to do this would be, and we're really excited about reaching out to local teachers who can talk to parents directly and help us build those personal connections. So we'll have a website up.
The website has a contact page where anyone who sees it can get into contact with us, but we really want to get to the parents and like the teachers and really find those girls that they feel would be a good fit for this and who otherwise wouldn't have another chance, because it's a free program. It's a lot of these programs like these cost a lot of money, and we just really want to give girls a chance to get into.
So it'll be the last 2 weeks of August. It will be over at the.
I still know, hopefully.
Okay, hopefully.
We have a couple possible locations.
A couple possible locations. The application process will be available soon, probably.
Very soon.
It's totally free, and we're just looking for any.
How many girls do you have space for?
So we're both leading a class, and we're hoping to get 10 girls in each class, and then for 2 weeks. So that would be a total of 40 girls.
40 girls, so 2 different sessions.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And is the college do you get to stay on campus in the summer so that you can get this all set up, or how is that going to work?
They definitely gave us, they definitely talked a lot about this with us, about giving us housing opportunities and whether or not we'll stay, but I think we've come across so much people who want to help us. We worked out housing in a different, aside from the college, but I think the college has been really, really supportive about getting us off the ground. Our computer science department has been very supportive about giving us advice, and there are people in our department who has children, and so they are really excited about this, that we're giving these girls a chance. And so I just think besides like housing, everything else, like the college is giving us so much support and so much aid, and it's been really great working with them.
Yeah.
So besides the two of you, will you have other counselors, other teachers, or what are you expecting?
So we're going to teach the classes, but we've had people offer to help out with things like check-in, check-out, with things like preparing sack lunches and organizing outdoor activities. And it's just really awesome to connect with other people who are excited about this. When we came up with the idea, we thought, this is a small-scale thing. We want to reach out to people, but it's just a small project. And then to see people excited and to see people willing to dedicate their summers to helping us out is just amazing.
Yeah. So how does this project for each of you fit into your career trajectories? Are you hoping to...
Oh, that's a big question. Yeah. I'm not gonna, as a junior, I should probably know a little bit more what I'm gonna do with my life when I graduate. Not saying I don't know, but I think that, just going back to me growing up in a city, I was never encouraged as much as I feel like a lot of other people were encouraged to go into particular fields, or just in general when it comes to education. And so I've always kind of had this strong passion where I feel like I wanted to help, and I wanted to teach, and I wanted to like get people into these fields that they wouldn't be
Yeah.
in, and if they weren't getting encouragement from their like primary educators, then I'd kind of want to step in and try and fill that gap. Because I mean, I understand like in big cities, like you don't necessarily have all the resources or the time to just tell every one of your students certain things, but I feel like there should be someone there to fill that gap. And so definitely for me, I've always wanted to sort of be that like gap filler and help kids just find whatever path. And I'm in this field, and so I feel like I can help guide them along this field if they're interested, or like show them an entry into it just in case they want to do it.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. I think computer science is just not a field that many people think about going into. We certainly did.
Certainly tried. Yeah.
And so I don't know yet what I'm going to do as a computer scientist, but I know that
So many things.
yeah, as a person who comes from a more kind of social sciences oriented background, and particularly as a woman, there's a place for me in the technology sector that isn't really being filled right now. And I think we really need to encourage girls and encourage everyone to consider computer science and just to know that it's an option. I think a lot of people don't. And so regardless...
a lot of girls.
a lot
I feel
of-
a lot
yeah,
of females don't. I feel like boys get the idea more than girls that computer science is an option than... Because, I don't know, I just feel like girls are more encouraged to go for the social sciences rather than the technology science, or specifically computer science. You don't see a lot of girls encouraged to go there from a young age, like, you're going to be a computer scientist, or you're going to be an engineer. Like, you don't see that very often, and I think that's kind of why we wanted to focus in on girls.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Rosies Girls, or a program called Vermont Works for Women? It's really aimed at encouraging young women to look at alternative.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, they started out with carpentry and a few of the other things, and
That's
they'd
so
be a
cool.
great connection for
Yeah.
you. They
I
should
would
know
just
what you're
love to
doing.
connect with them.
Yeah.
It's so amazing that this is such a small community, but all of the different things that you guys think
Yeah.
of, it's just amazing. It's so
Yeah.
wonderful to see that there are people doing this here already.
Well,
and
it's
be
also
able be
great to
part
have
of that.
outside energy coming in and
Oh.
saying, hey, we've been thinking about this, and this would be great
Yeah.
stuff to
Yeah.
do.
I'm really excited.
Yeah. So I'm also curious, have you connected with Miniburi?
We have.
Okay.
Actually, yes. Eliza was one of the judges on
Yeah.
our panel, and
Uh-huh.
she was so wonderful about reaching out.
So
and
excited about
And she said she would, advertise our camp and
Yeah.
connect us to people, and that's just part of the beauty of being here in this community,
Yeah.
I think. There's people who reach out and are so excited about this. It's
So how did
wonderful.
you know Dana Anderson, just out of curiosity?
I think Eliza actually
Yeah,
connected
Eliza
us.
connected us, yeah.
It's a great program about how networks work,
Yeah.
I think.
Working in Middlebury is
Yeah.
just amazing.
That's amazing.
Amazing. Yeah.
So will you bring some of your international experience to this, and some of your city experience into this camp for the girls?
I
How?
mean, I think that's an excellent question, because those
Yeah.
are the connections you don't always think about.
Yeah.
But because I've lived in so many different places, I'm pretty used to interacting with people from different backgrounds than my own. And I think especially when working with kids, it's really important, because it just allows you to connect with kids as with people instead of as kids. And so then you can have so much more fun, and you can build these friendships and build this community within a small camp. And I think that having a background with a lot of travel and with a lot of kind of being the person who's new to a place, or I've often been the kid who's new and doesn't really know a lot of people or might be lonely. And I think that helps me connect really well to middle school girls. And so we get along and we have a lot of fun. And I've actually taught at a computer science summer camp for the past summer. And I've definitely seen that come through there, and I'm really excited to bring it to Middlebury as well.
Yeah, I think that not necessarily my city background, but my parents are not from this country, and so I like to feel like I grew up in an international home, because I honestly didn't really know. I knew more of their Caribbean culture than I did about American culture, because they raised me, and so I didn't really get an introduction to American culture until I started my public school. And even then, I feel like my home culture was more my culture than anything else. And so not necessarily when I was in public school, but coming to Middlebury, it was kind of like a culture shock for me, because I feel like in New York City it's very diverse, and it's very you have a lot of different sets of people, but at the same time you feel included because it's so diverse and you're a part of that diversity. And so here I feel like I definitely want to bring to the table that they're different. They're women in computer science, and we're different, and we're kind of standing out in the crowd. And I feel like I've kind of had to do that ever since I came to Middlebury. I don't have all the American customs that like a lot of people expect, even though I am an American. But I came to Middlebury and I was different, and I kind of just stood out for that fact. And so I just kind of want to bring it's not a bad thing. You know, we all have our like special things about us, and come from different places.
Yeah. I'm also thinking, I mean, the fact that you're targeting this to middle school girls, and for many girls that's, you know, the psychologists tell you that's when girls usually lose their voice, and it's such a challenging developmental period for kids, and it seems like just being part of this group will really support the girls through it. But did you both have easy transitions through middle school?
I don't know if anyone's ever had it
Middle school is easy for anybody. In terms of like if I ever had programs like these, not where I was from. I was never like encouraged to go to a summer camp for girls or for anybody or for any like educational thing. So it was I don't know. I don't think middle school is easy for anyone, but I do think it might have been a little easier had I had something similar to this, where I can just express my interest and do some of the things that I probably might have fell in love with before I came to college, and had this introduction before I even got here, and didn't have to waste. I didn't waste any time into that class, but you know.
Yeah. And for you?
I agree. I think middle school is a really formative time, and I think it can be difficult. And I think having things that you're interested in and learning that you have so much potential as a person and as an individual, I just think that's awesome. Yeah. And my favorite parts of middle school, you know, when I think back, it's the times when I got to hang out with my mentors who were, you know, college students, or when I got to go to math camp, or just doing things that I loved and figuring out what it was that I loved and who it was that I wanted to be. And if I could be a part of that for local girls, that would just be amazing. So I think middle school is a great time to get involved with technology, and maybe it's not for everyone, but it's definitely an option for anyone.
And it's so nice for the girls to have you both as mentors, and some of the other people. Will be an amazing experience. Yeah, I'm curious. So when my daughter went through middle school, of course, she just didn't even want to be seen with us. Will you be reaching out, or how will you be reaching out to the families of these girls?
I think that's a big one, and I was definitely not the kindest to my mother when I was in middle school.
I don't know that any middle school girl is nice to her mom, right?
But families are really, really important, and families make the hugest difference in our lives, I think. And my family's definitely just been an amazing influence and supported me so much. And I think that they can be a really big part of building a girl's confidence. So we're looking at advertising to families through teachers, but really a big part of our camp is the showcase. So we're going to have, you know, our 5 weeks, or weeks, 2 weeks,
Next year you can do 5 days.
5 days, and on the last day of every session, we want to have a family showcase where we invite family members, friends, anyone who wants to come, and the girls can just present their projects and show what they have done. And I think this is a great way for everyone to build confidence and just to know that they can build something really, really cool to share it, and then hopefully maybe even get siblings interested, maybe get friends interested, and start building a movement, not just one project, but many.
Like, I feel like we can inspire the campers, but also through these showcases, whoever decides to see them, like, we hope to inspire them, to show them that girls can do it. Like, you can be a man, you can be a grown woman, you can be a little, it could be her little brother in there, and girls can do it too, you can do it too, and everyone can kind of do it. And so I think it's just kind of this like final piece that we just want to bring together and have everyone there to show them that you know, the point of this is to show you that everyone can get involved in something like this, and we can all be a part of it.
Well, it's an amazing undertaking. We're running out of time, unfortunately. I'd love to talk to both of you more, but are there things that I should have asked you about, or things that you'd like to say that we didn't cover?
I think we're just really excited to do this and to meet some girls and make some awesome projects. And we're so grateful to the community and to the Project for Creativity and Innovation for helping us make this happen.
And like our entire department for supporting us.
The computer science department.
The best department.
The best department.
They should put you guys on the road recruiting.
No, we're just very grateful to everybody who has reached out to us and has been helping us get this all put together, and we're so excited for these last 2 weeks of August.
Well, I'm very grateful to both of you, Kristin and Joy, for being on this show, and your contact information will come up in a minute. And we're grateful to you if you've been listening to us today. You can get in touch with either of them directly. Their website's not quite up yet, but it will be soon. And I just also wanted to put in a plug for if you are somebody who works with a nonprofit, or if you have some other kind of information that you think is really important for people in this community to know, how wonderful it is to work with Middlebury Community Television. They will help you put together a show and get the word out there. Kurt knows everything, and you don't need to know anything about TV or science or anything yet. Just give them a call. Their contact information is at the end as well. Thank you very much for watching us today.